Yeah!
It's Josh Williams, and welcome to another bonus episode of the One Man Podcast, presented by Absolute Comedy, official sponsors of these bonus interviews with comedians. And I'm here today with a very good friend of mine. He is a two-time finalist at Absolute Comedy's summer competition, and recently back from the Ice Cold Comedy Festival in Kingston. It is my roommate, Kamar Babar. Kamar, how are you doing, my friend?
Hey, Josh, how's it going? Very good.
It's a very awkward look right now across the table.
Good, thank you.
Good, man. It's been a long time. Obviously, you guys who've been listening to the podcast since the beginning, Kamar, you're one of them as well. You guys have heard a million stories about Kamar, either busting my balls or out in the hallway, me yelling at him for having late night underwear conversations with Jason, whatever it may be. But a good friend, a great comic. Everyone knows that you were on the trip with me to see Verzi as well.
That was huge. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just trying to think of reference points for you and that, you know, as well as the fact that you're a comedian.
Do you know
and all
the
that fun
levels
stuff.
between your podcast and
Quite a different
interviews?
Between mine. Oh, you know what's weird? I have friends that don't listen to the interviews, which I think is ridiculous because the interviews are the better ones, in my opinion.
Wow, it's all good. It's all good. It's all content, but you know.
Do I know? No.
You don't know.
All I can do is
who's
look at the
listening
numbers.
more.
I can just see some of the interviews have really high numbers. Some of the episodes have really high numbers.
I think though the interviews will work out that they'll be like timeless.
That's what I like about them. They are timeless because the episodes
It's
are
not
so
like
there.
you're talking about current events.
Right.
So
We'll see how high your episode goes, right? How many downloads
it's
we
pretty
get.
high right now.
So, I mean, dude, there's so many things we can start because we shoot the shit all the time on a daily basis. So obviously I always start these interviews same way every time is I ask, what were you doing before you started stand-up comedy?
Before I was doing stand-up comedy, because I knew I was going to do this. I was thinking about it. I think I was like in Algonquin College taking public relations because I thought I wanted to like do something academic because I've been working in service industry for so long. And
You've never been this quiet in your life, by the way. I don't know why you're talking
no,
like you're doing smooth jazz radio.
This is real. I want to get it right. I don't want to run all over the place.
I'm like, why can't you talk like that when you guys are outside the hall when I'm recording the regular episodes?
No one can hear us. I've heard them all. Like I screamed one time. I was like, you could hear barely, and it doesn't bother anyone. But anyways, no, I was in Algonquin College, and I started a clothing company.
Oh, that's
golf
right.
clothing
Yeah.
company, with some friends, and so I didn't finish. Well, no, I passed the public relations, but I didn't follow up on like the co-op or the placements or whatever, get a job out of school.
Right.
And started doing this clothing company. I mean, still working as a waiter and stuff. And that's what I was doing before.
That sounds like
comedy.
Like that sounds crazy though. Starting a clothing company like that's not.
It is crazy because you don't find out. I mean, I guess I convinced the guys that I started with that it could be, and they believed in it. And once you start doing it, you don't realize how much money you need.
Oh,
because it's not really a clothing company because you're not making clothes. It's a brand,
right?
And that was a brand we're trying to sell. But this was just before Twitter and everything was popping off, so it was just like we made sales.
Right,
we were one of. I was thinking about this. Shopify's first customers.
Really?
When they were in a condo in the market.
Oh wow!
They're
huge,
guys on laptop on couches.
Company,
the biggest company in Ottawa. We were one of their first customers, and we got it going, and it was happening. But just learning how to manufacture products so they're cheap enough so you can sell them, or you got to go high end, just finding all these things, sizing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Starting something like that, it was just such a big undertaking, and we made a go of it. But
and it's crazy competitive too.
Well, it's just the brand thing. I remember I knew a friend who was a friend of a guy who worked for Vice or was big in Vice, and I asked him, would he send him, our lookbook, clothing samples, stuff like that. And
what's a lookbook? Sorry to interrupt.
A lookbook is like a catalog,
okay,
with just shirts, but they're not necessarily real. They could be drawings,
like concepts and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Okay,
but in hopes of a store ordering them,
yeah,
just getting the word out, hype it up. And we sent a bunch of materials to this guy, and he wrote back and was like super hypercritical as to why, like, it's because our angle was like a golf company.
Right.
That was just not like
golf apparel and stuff like that.
But it was badass. You know what I mean?
I see.
Like it was rebel. Triple Bogey. Triple Bogey's bad. It was just, you know, we had our slogans and like, I don't know, have you cleaned your balls lately?
So stuff like that.
Find your balls.
And so the guy's like, that's not going to fly in the golf world.
No, he was more like, what are you producing? Like, what is your brand? And is that really a big market in golfing of rebel golfers?
Right.
And it turns out it isn't.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there was outliers and stuff that we sold to, but when we took it to a golf course, like we had a shirt of Phil Mickelson missed the putt to win the Masters. The Masters are like the creme de la creme of professional golf.
It's the Kentucky Derby. I just like to refer to them as horses.
It's the majors, but the Masters special because it was the same course, blah, 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 blah. And Phil Mickelson one year missed the putt, lost. And there's a picture of him on his hands and knees holding his head. And we made the back of his head explode.
Oh, really?
And that was
on the picture?
Yeah. And we showed it. It's funny. We took it out to the military base. We were trying to sell Uplands. It was like, yeah, I don't know if the guys are going to go for this.
That's fucking hilarious.
Because it was too violent PTSD or whatever. But it was just, I think, ahead of our time. Because just tied off. We could talk about that for.
It was just right before
2
social
hours.
media.
Well, no. Now there's a guy that has. I remember I got this tattoo when we got invited to a fashion show.
We got to take a picture of that for the Instagram so people can see it.
Whatever. Yeah, we can do whatever you want, man. And so we got invited to this fashion show in Toronto. I was like, oh my God, we're big time. We're making it.
Right.
So I got this tattoo, and my buddies, my business partners, were just like, "You're crazy. What are you doing?" I was like, "We're in. We're all in." And we went down to Toronto, and it was all right. Like it was in a loft apartment. Like I was thinking we were in downtown in a mall. Like it was a big release, but it was just a grassroots thing or whatever. But there's other guys there, and one of the guys there had a rival brand.
Okay.
They were called Quagmire, and they folded as well. But that guy started up a brewing company after we shut down called Triple Bogey.
No.
True story.
Well, God, fuck, that sucks.
Well, it was just, we were just on the edge of, do you copyright this, like all this stuff? And
is that beer still around now?
yeah. A painful reminder. I would never drink it.
No, you're like, fuck that shit. So what ended up happening ultimately that caused the shutdown? You guys are just...
I got involved in coke, a lot of drugs.
Okay.
And I in my head, I thought I'd be like a Jay-Z businessman, golf clothing company, but funded by cocaine or something. And so that probably made me fail on my end. But we had done so much and stuff, and it just if it's not making money, it's hard,
right,
to keep that
you're
thing going.
Right.
And once you start selling coke, you probably start just doing coke.
Right. Oh, is
and
that
you
what
just
happened?
get distracted stuff. I think so now, looking back.
You're just like, throw that in. Oh, once you start selling coke, you start doing coke. I'm like, oh, that's much bigger than just doing coke.
But it's more like people don't tell you.
Right.
They just sort of let you do your thing. And sort of they stop talking to you. You know, they don't sit you down and go, this is happening. And you look up and everything's gone. And you're just like, oh, shit.
Right.
This is what happened. Yeah. So that but who knows? It just didn't sell.
Well, and that's what happens if it doesn't sell. It goes under. I'm sorry to hear it, but it's still ambitious. It's
my
one of those
partners had like partners and kids, and you know what I mean. So they invest, I don't know, 5 years into it and whatever. And who knows what could have been. So now I'm the clothing company's still sort of fizzling, still happening, but
really Triple Bogey.
No, not now. I'm trying.
Oh, at the time, I see. I see.
You said before I did stand-up comedy.
Right.
So I think I skipped over a bunch. Or no, I talked about everything to get to how we got to stand-up. If you want to ask more questions.
The company, I was gonna say, did the company like go under and you're like, fuck, I need to do stand-up comedy? Like,
no, not at all. Not at all.
So that's what I figure. Like, so
it was in the the dying down of the clothing company.
And you just like, did you
I
see
was
a
still
show?
working as a waiter somewhere or something. Yeah, and I went to a show and I saw Nick Carter and Joe Vu. Could it be Joe
Really?
Vu? No, not Joe Vu. Joe Shang Fang, or there was the two of them. And I went and saw the show and I was like, these guys aren't that funny. You know what I mean? And I honestly was like, I can do this. And I was like 34 at this time. I probably started the clothing company at 28.
Wow. And so, well, how many years have you been in stand-up at this point?
This is 8 years.
8 years in stand-up.
I'm 42 now.
Yeah, you don't look it.
I'm afraid I'm going to wake up.
And just look
Just
43.
or whatever, or 422, like whatever. Like,
well, that's not a bad thing. You wake up 422 and you're basically a vampire at that point. You've been living for centuries.
but just I people always tell me I look young, but
You'll get to see iPhone 300, basically, if you live that long.
young people are just beautiful and gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like if you put
Not all of
say
them.
young people, then they're like, oh, you do look old. But
Well, you don't look young.
I don't have the. Well, come on. Don't be mean. Don't be
You
mean.
sound old as
I
fuck.
look really young. I look really young.
There's so you saw the shows and you decided, okay, I'm going to do stand-up comedy. What was your first time like?
First time.
Where did you do it,
First
too?
time was amazing. It was a Yuck Yucks. I signed up with, I think it was Oliver Gross.
Oh, he was the one you signed
It was
up with?
Oliver Gross. Well, he was running things down there or whatever. And I went and saw that show and asked him what happened. And I think it's still email in there. And I emailed in, got a spot. I give a month later, whatever, invited everyone I possibly knew, and did a set.
How'd it go?
Amazing. The place was packed. Like it was the greatest night ever. You know what I mean? No, it wasn't Matt Carter. Nick Carter was the guy I saw. Matt Carter was the MC.
The first time?
The first time I ever did it.
Nice.
Baron von Munchausen.
Do you remember any of your jokes from your first set?
Yeah, they're the same jokes I do now. I think the soap joke for sure. Like,
Oh, really?
I got enough jokes. No, I can remember. I think I stole a joke, and the rest, I probably stole it all. You know, when you start, you're like just writing stuff, and you think you think of something, and then you see it like, that's where I heard that.
Oh, okay.
And it was jokes about gay Olympics and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah?
I want to bring that back, actually. Well, it's time.
But the gay Olympics?
Yeah, it's
You
time.
should talk to Dave first. Dave is...
No, I've told it before. It's great. It's great. And it would have worked well in Russia when they're like, it was the anti-gay.
Right.
So the idea was we should have a pro-gay Olympics, like to protest them, you know what I mean? But just with gay sports, like UFC fighting, figure skating, speed walking.
The speed walking.
You know, and what's the one where the four guys ride the big dildo down to the tube? Four-man bobsled?
Four-man bobsled. They ride the big...
And the double luge, where they're fighting to be who's on top. And we'll call it the Olympics.
Oh, and you lisp it. Olympics.
And that's the joke.
That's funny.
But I can bring it back too because it's Olympics are coming up.
Right? That's what this podcast is all about. It's
Relevant.
bringing back memories. So, like, you started doing stand-up. Obviously, you're doing the open mics and stuff like that. How long was it before you started getting, like, paid work and stuff like that?
Years.
Yeah?
Well, no, I did it for 3 years here and got nothing, and then moved to Toronto to try to be a star because I think I had like 3 or 4 great sets at Absolute, and I thought like, oh my god, like what the world is waiting for me. And then you get to Toronto and you're like, everyone's like way funnier, and the level's just so much crazier.
Yeah.
That you realize you're not funny at all, and 5 minutes is like great to be confident with, but.
Right.
Completely nothing. You actually have nothing to offer Hollywood or anybody. When you get to Toronto, you start to see like real hustlers, funniest guys you've ever seen, and they're like, well, whatever, just getting by on the Canadian comedy industry.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's tough. Everybody wants to go to Toronto.
Super opened my eyes to like how bad I wasn't good or something.
So you moved back to Ottawa?
And in Toronto, that would be my first paid gig. My first paid gig was like, I think Big Norm, might have been
Yeah.
Big Norm. He had a show in the basement where they're just cracking beers and selling weed, and it was awesome. It was a hype show, and he tossed me $20. That was crazy. And then I did a show with Mike Rita. He gives you like $10 at the Vapor Central.
But it still feels good, like when someone's paying you to tell jokes.
That's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, and it was impossible to happen in Ottawa. I got that time with the open mics or fringe shows on my level, there was nothing. But in Toronto, so big that once you get to know people, there's stuff like, and we're not talking about making really money, but
but just getting paid. Someone's offering you something
more
for the
than a
jokes.
drink ticket. A meal is something else. That's probably maybe even Ken Strangway.
Right, Ken Strangway's got some good shows.
He had some good shows.
Because that's the thing. A lot of people don't like. A lot of people see comedians on stage and assume, like, oh, these guys just go up. They just show up with a list of jokes, and people are like, "Sure, I'll buy that." And you just do comedy clubs every week of the year. They don't realize like sometimes it takes years.
They do.
Yeah,
they do. That's
at some point.
That's exactly what they do.
But it's not how
that's
it
where
starts.
I'm trying to get to, or ends.
Right. That's just where it ends.
It doesn't have to end like that. There's no guaranteed outcome.
Right, but I'm saying some people think that you just walk in the door to that, and it's such a road beforehand. Some people, the road is longer than others,
and some people do. Yeah, like Eliza Schlesinger was doing comedy for 3 years.
Yeah, and then she won
America's Outstanding. 3 years,
wasn't it? Last Comic Standing. You said, yeah.
But she's hilarious. Like, she puts the work in. Well, whatever. For a girl, no.
Me too. No, that's fucking horrible. I'm
just saying, 3 years and she's a headliner,
right?
Versus certain people have been doing it 20 years and they're still an opener or open micer wherever in the universe.
And that's the thing, is some people, and the idea is to keep grinding. If you really want it, you got to keep grinding. Obviously, now for yourself, you were, years in, like you said, and you were one of the finalists of Absolute Comedy. So you came back.
That was after Toronto. And thanks to Toronto.
Yeah. And was there something that happened in Toronto where you're like, okay, enough's enough? Or did you run out of money like some of the other guys?
I've always wanted to tell this story. So I moved out of Toronto and I figured I had to do something.
Right.
Other than just chase open mics, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I signed up at Second City for a stand-up course and improv course. And I took both courses. When you sign up from Ottawa with a credit card, you think it's like school, you know what I mean?
Right.
But it's literally like once a week in this room, adults show up and
fuck around.
Fuck around, yeah, you know what I mean? Well, the stand-up class was pretty good. Like, it was Jim McAleese. And you don't like him?
No, I just
anyways, he's a cool guy. I was definitely overqualified for the comedy class. It was definitely like intro to comedy. So I did well in it.
Intro to comedy, so I did well
better
in it.
than others. And the improv was fun too, whatever. And the culmination of the show is a set at Absolute Comedy.
Oh, so the whole club, class sums up.
Jason fucking is a dickhead right now to me. Like,
what, right now or at the time?
I've been doing it for 3 years. He doesn't even know my name. Like, and so I got on.
He's been here 3 years. He lives in the house, doesn't know.
No.
That's fucking hilarious. That's what I took from it. It was fucking hilarious. Like, yeah, right now, Jason's an asshole. I lived here for 3 years. He doesn't know my name. Which is not beyond Jason's capabilities to have someone in his face every day and not know that. What the fuck is that guy's name? You fucking cocksucker. I didn't fucking know who the fuck he is.
Better that way. You can't collect rent.
Who owes me rent? Say his name.
Who's that guy? Have you seen him? No. But it was, anyways, it wasn't like I couldn't reach. So this would be my first time on an Absolute stage, Toronto.
Right.
I'd gone on the Wednesday or whatever, the Mondays at the Ottawa, but he wasn't sending me down there. So it was just exciting. First time on stage. And he happened to be there.
Jason.
In the club.
Holy shit.
Putting up a coat rack in the green room with the drill. And I walk in like, Jason, how's it going? He's like, what the fuck are you eating here, fucking bud? And I'm like, I took the comedy class. This is our award show. He goes, What the fuck are you doing that for? You should have just stayed in Ottawa. You were getting close, and it brought me to tears. I cried.
For real?
Much like our Christmas party.
Oh, that was great.
I was like, I thought
you were fucking with us.
I thought he'd be like, wow, your hustle. Like, I was like, oh, fuck, you're an idiot. Like, just
Yeah, Jason will give zero praise.
not like, oh, you're taking this seriously or anything. He was a fucking cocksucker. And I've told him this.
He probably's like, yeah, there's no apology, doesn't give a fuck.
He goes, whatever, fuck, you sucked anyways.
You're getting close. It doesn't mean, hey, getting close.
It's not like I'm saying something like, this happened. Like, fuck him.
Fuck.
But I did that show.
He's within earshot of all of this too, which is great.
I did that show and did lots of shows in Toronto, met lots of cool people, and it's just got perspective.
So what made you come home?
Oh, I couldn't land a good job. I was working in an HVAC manufacturing company, like way up Jane. I had to be up at 5:30, catch a bus for an hour to work with a bunch of like Cambodians, and people didn't speak English for real.
Yeah.
Like it was through an agency that, you know what I mean? They paid you $14 an hour and you probably got 18, but they took 4 because it found the jobs for you.
Right.
And just like, it was just a crazy, horrible job. Like,
And
hard.
so you're like, enough's enough. I'm moving back home.
Well, no, I got fired from that.
You're like, no, I got fired.
They moved me around department to department. And I was like, this sucks. You guys are horrible. Like, this is whatever.
And they said you're fired?
Just they yell at you and you're like hammering and stuff and learning. You know, you're learning how to do it. It's not like you've been doing it for years and whatever.
They're yelling at you while you're hammering.
No, but that agency called me up again and were like, we have another job for you. Like, that sort of, they let you go. I knew.
Oh, I see. Okay, you didn't get fired. You just didn't get renewed.
I knew it was that kind of thing because I went to the canteen guy one day. I was like, "Oh, can you front me till next paycheck?" He's like, "No," but he was fronting other people.
Oh,
so he
knew you're not getting another paycheck.
He didn't know that, but he knew that guys would come out all the time and start working here. And even though he's seen me for 2 weeks already, that he might not see me in 2 days.
Oh, I see. I thought he was he got the DL on. Hey, he's not going to be here. Cut off his tab.
And I lost that job and decided I wanted to come back to Ottawa just because it was just so big.
Yeah.
And no support. I mean, I definitely regret not just sticking it out.
Really?
We'll see where we are now. I mean, who knows if that didn't happen. But I look back, actually it was going good. Like it's just I was sparing change for hot dogs and I was very struggling. Like spend your money on the pass, and then win open mic up on St. Clair. Funniest set gets $20, and just happen to win that, and that be a good thing. Have some money and stuff.
Yeah.
So my standard of living was getting so low, it was becoming difficult psychologically to justify these open mics and chasing this thing,
right?
And just running myself into the ground because I'm 37,
right?
When this is happening, you know what I mean? What are you, 35?
On Friday.
Yeah, so 2 years.
Oh, the day this comes out, by the way. So you guys are listening. Yes, I'm 35 now.
2 year. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to timestamp it. But anyways,
no, that's fine. I have no issue with it.
2 years from now, do you want to be crashing on couches? Could you imagine?
It's not ideal. No. Nobody's that's what I want.
Can you imagine?
It's certainly not a goal I'm setting. I think
if
that
you had to, because that's
if I had to,
when
yes.
I found out what I had to do.
Yeah. If I have to, you know me, I'll have a ton of creature comforts around me on that couch. So, but I do respect it because there's some people who aren't even willing to try. So the idea is obviously failure is the best teacher, right? You learn from failure. You don't learn from success. So when you fail, you learn what you don't want.
It opened my eyes, and it's the same thing as anything is when you're on a show and you can just hang with people. And not even hang, you're funny too. Mm-hmm. Whatever. Even if you don't get along with each other, you can be on a show with someone you don't like and they could be great and you can be great and everything's great.
Yeah.
And you probably should like them. But in Ottawa, it's such a bubble. You don't really know if you're funny
Yeah.
at all, or like, and just Toronto show, and like horrible shows but still doing well, or great shows are doing well, and bombing. You know what I mean? Like it's just
And in Toronto, you can hit several open mics in an evening, right?
once you're set up, and especially if you happen to run your own mic, for sure.
Okay.
For sure, you can run around town. Like
Did you run one while you were there?
No. I'm trying to think. I hosted one, like on Dundas, I think it was. Like just a bar that was just one room with windows, and that was a really cool one. And it'd be more like you go to the guy and say, "I'll get people here, and we'll have a show."
Right.
Pretty
Of course.
bare bones, but working that shitty job just to survive to be there. I got a job as a bouncer at a nightclub, and it just wasn't like. I guess if you're younger, you can do it from a couch, but just have some sort of roots to commit, because you want to be able to do this open mic. You don't want to start something that you might fucking bail on.
Right. Yeah, and you can't run it if you're at work all day throwing a hammer, getting yelled at by Cambodians.
That's the biggest lesson from Toronto, is that it had nothing to do with being funny either.
Yeah, so it's a grind.
All the hustle, all the emails, all the going to the rooms and not getting a spot and just saying, "Hey, what's up? Or you want to do this?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, okay, maybe." And
Well, because there is a very, like, I know it's happened for myself. The fact that I have very strong affiliations with Absolute Comedy and not Yuck Yucks in Ottawa. There's half of the club scene with people who've only done one club who have no idea who I am, who would not book me for their shows or whatever.
That's brutal.
That don't know. But that's something like, since you come back, you come back to Ottawa, and it wasn't long afterwards that Absolute started the Prove Your Comic competition.
I came back to Ottawa and was really depressed.
Yeah.
I moved in with Dan Shields
Oh, really?
and lived in his basement. Yeah,
But you got like,
that's when I was selling Bell.
oh, really?
I was barely doing spots. I was like,
But something changed, because when you came back, it was, I don't remember if it was the first year. I don't think it was the first year, but the second year of the competition, you were a finalist. And it was like, to me, no contest. Because I don't know if you remember, and you and I weren't close then like we are now, is I came up to you and I told you that you were my pick for winning the competition. And that's nothing against any of the other competitors.
a milestone for me in my career.
Well, my word means nothing. I'm just saying that I recognized the talent long before, before Jason, which
Got
is
the eye. You've got the eye, man. Look at
That's
me.
not what I'm saying.
To the moon. No.
Whatever. I'm just saying, dude, I saw a huge difference when you came back. Is the point that I'm saying. Yeah.
Toronto.
Now, do you attribute that because it's Toronto, or just because there's a lot more stage time there? Do you attribute it to the getting on and hustling more, or are you like, no, it's specifically those rooms?
No, but just seeing like Ron Jossel at an open mic with 5 people,
right,
who tours the world,
yeah,
who's been on TV, like
so you see guys grinding, basically
doing that,
killers grinding,
not above it. It's successful, like guys you want to be, not above it,
right?
So you can't be above it, and especially performing over and over again in these same rooms in front of people, like you can't just do your bit.
Right.
I remember I did an open mic, and I did one, and then we went to the next one, and the same guy was there, and I started doing it, and he was just looking at me with a stink eye, and I was like, what's the problem? He was like, you're just doing bits. And he was like bummed at me. And I was like, yeah, that's what I came here to do. But whatever scene or level you're at, there, it was supposed to be way more organic and just talk about what's going on in your day, and definitely a place you want to get to. But I think you can only articulate that and make it funny when you have tools.
Right.
That are built. I personally, I think you have a foundation of jokes that you can just sit on, and then you stand on that and get funnier.
Right.
And then build whether it be crowd work or more into yourself stuff or observation.
Finding your voice. But really, at the end of the
building
day.
these things that, like, if this doesn't work, you're not nowhere. You still have your jokes. Like,
right.
That's it. You know the pain when you've told a joke so many times.
Right.
And I think that's why comedians might be able to be actors. Like learning how to sell the same, because a joke you have to tell 100 times. Like,
right. It's like singing a song. You could stop paying attention to it. You know what the words are, and then you just come back. Oh fuck! What have I been singing?
But if you've told it enough times, you're just so sick of telling it. Like,
Right. Well, that's why you get it.
But you make it seem like you're happy to tell the joke. Like that's acting. Not even
Absolutely.
acting like you're. It's the first time you told it, and that's the skill.
So I think we're going to take a second and plug, of course, the sponsor. I'm going to play a little Absolute Comedy ad here.
Nowhere without you, Jason.
Then we're going to, and when we come back, I'm going to talk about the competitions and, of course, all the big successes you've had since returning to. Are you from Ottawa? Is Ottawa home?
I was born in the Yukon, but I'm from Ottawa. Yeah.
Okay. When did you move from the Yukon here?
I moved from the Yukon when I was like 2 to Kingston, and then I moved here when I was like 3 or 4.
Yeah. Okay. So, but like me, I moved here when I was 1 or 2. But for the most part, Ottawa's all I know.
Yeah. I mean, I went to Elmdale.
Oh,
I lived on Kenilworth. Like I lived.
Just in this area,
this neighborhood.
Yeah.
And when I was 8 years old, I'd walk 6-7 blocks.
So for all of our international listeners, those areas I'm
No,
familiar.
at fully molestable age though. But I was walking to school. 8 years old.
Fully molestable age, because you got to categorize it, right? Be like,
watch how people treat 8-year-olds now. They're still like babies.
oh yeah, but of course, but the whole fucking world's going that way. No one's surprised,
I remember in like grade school, kids huffing glue.
right?
It was just the world
They were
was
doing the
world was looser.
they were doing the R&D for the future generations.
Fuck the planes.
All right, we're gonna play Absolute. I'll be back in a sec. Absolute Comedy is the best live stand-up comedy from across North America, with locations in Kingston, Toronto, and Ottawa, Ontario. These comedians have been featured on Just for Laughs, Netflix, Comedy Central, CBC's The Debaters, Jimmy Kimmel Live, Conan, The Comedy Network, and much, much more. Go to absolutecomedy.ca to see this week's lineup. Planning a night out is easy with dinner and show packages available at all locations. Live comedy is a great choice if you're organizing a celebration, fundraiser, company outing, or corporate event. Want the show brought to you? They'll send comedians to your venue with performances tailored to your event, creating a night of laughs your guests will love and won't soon forget. So for showtimes, ticket prices, gift certificates, special shows, and more, head to absolutecomedy.ca. Again, that's absolutecomedy.ca for the best live stand-up comedy from across North America. And we're back. I like that we have to just sit here silently. Oh, there you go. Thanks for saving that.
That's huge.
Save it for
Could
the
I ask
end.
you a personal question?
Sure.
Could you edit this and throw that in?
Yeah, but I don't want to find the perfect stop because I have to listen to it. I can throw it in the editor for.
Well, you just put it on the timestamp, but you just go, okay, and now a message from our sponsors.
Yeah, but it's just
And
extra
then we
work.
continue talking because we had this momentum really going.
It's still here.
Okay, no.
We just sat here and stared at each other.
I'm sorry.
The look of love.
I went too far.
So yeah, dude. Like I said, that first competition that you were in, you went right to the end.
I was changed, man. I was a changed man.
But I'm just saying, what did you take away from that? Because obviously, coming in, I think you were second place in that, right?
I think it helps. No. In the finals?
Yeah.
No. I think that was, who was it that year? It was probably Kyle Brownrigg. No, it wasn't.
No, Kyle was dead last that one, and that was something too. So I'll have Kyle on sometime. But Kyle's a good friend of mine, and he came in dead last on that competition. And it's funny because there's somebody almost every year that just squeaked in, and they end up, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 are always so close together, and then 5 is distant.
No, I lost to Kyle. The first time I got to the finals, I lost to Kyle.
But he won the competition.
And he won the competition, and Steve Love was in that competition.
And you beat him?
No, I did not.
Oh, he beat you?
He's beat me always. He always beats me.
Just so you just stare at it.
No, I came in last at that one.
Because you were second place last time. You've been in the competition twice, correct?
Yeah, I came in last the first time.
Right, but I'm saying that you were a very close second the last time.
This time that just happened.
Right.
Yeah, my last time ever doing it.
You're not going to do it again? Is that what you mean? You said my last time ever.
Do I? I don't think. No,
I don't think you need to.
I don't think I should do it again.
But the rule is that anybody who is full, full host or middle, and I don't think you full hosted or middled yet. So if you wanted to go in and get the prize money,
that's about to happen in April.
Well, there you go.
Full host.
Well, we're going to plug that at the end of the show for sure.
And
but what did you learn from these competitions? Like, was there anything? Because that's a big show, man. You basically came in second place out of 36 comics. That's not an easy feat.
Well, it is when some of the comics suck, but
Well, you could take that accolade away from
it doesn't
yourself.
even matter. It doesn't matter because in those beginning rounds, you can lose if someone brings a bunch of people still with the vote and stuff, and everyone's funny, like, and people like get nerves or whatever. I don't think I learned anything. I learned that it's like just frustrating to be trying to have fun doing comedy and competing against people, and just the feelings.
Right.
If someone beats you, you lose. Like, you feel bad. But
It's comparison. That's the
you
hard
a
part.
good set. Like, it should be all good.
Yeah.
And that going through that ringer and doing it by Yucks and Absolute at the same time. It's
Competitions suck. I don't like them either because it's hard. It's like we're all funny, so why do we have to, like, obviously competing, but you got to compare as well. So it's kind of
but competitions are just exploitation. It's just American Idol. It's just it's free talent the whole time.
Right, and one of them gets paid at the end,
Maybe
and all of them work.
The host and whoever gets some cash, but it fills up a bunch of nights, and then the more newbies you have, the more people you're gonna have bringing themselves. So have the vote. It's a perfect.
I think in Jason's interview, we may have described how it works, but the absolute competition, the way it works is that there's 4 weeks, and every week starts on the Monday. All right. On Monday, there's 9 competitors, and they bring in judges. The judges narrow that 9 down to 5. Those 5 move on to the following night, Tuesday and Wednesday, where they both they do 7 minutes of material, and every single person in the audience gets a voting card and ranks the comics 1 through 5. And the person with the most, the highest average over those 2 nights moves on to the finals. The finals. So 4 weeks, 4 finalists, and the second highest average out of all 4 weeks ends up being the wild card, or someone who just showed an incredible amount of talent or whatever, and Jason decides to pick them for that. So those 5 people perform for 9 shows. I think they perform Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So they perform all those nights, and they basically, the audience votes every single show, and then of course the person with the highest average for the entire week wins. And
Lowest.
Well, whatever. The best score, the person who scored the highest in terms of the best.
It comes into play psychologically.
Well, but here's the thing: is as much as, like, yes, some of the people suck. The idea is that for over the course of an entire week, you average the second highest score out of everybody there. And I know that you didn't bring a bunch of people and things like that. I didn't. The idea is, I killed it. Dude, you did a great job. Hey, look, you can take that away from yourself. And here's what I tell everybody that I talk to. And who am I? I'm nobody. But this is just something that it's still worth, is that in this business, and you know as well as I do, there's going to be hundreds, if not thousands of people throughout the time who are going to try to make your accomplishments and everything worth nothing. They're going to come up with excuses why what you got is not worth anything. And so I just tell you, everybody, don't do it to yourself. If everyone else is going to do it to you, don't do it to yourself. You got it and nobody else did. And if it was worth nothing, then everyone would have it. So you don't, like, I mean, they're going to shit on you. Don't shit on yourself. Enjoy what you accomplished and what you earned.
Yeah. I look at it like skateboarding. I used to skateboard when I was a kid, and I wasn't a good skateboarder, but I could do a bunch of stuff that 95% of the world will never. I kickflip or ollie, whatever. Yeah. Drop in a ramp. We'll never be able to do.
Yeah. And skateboarding's fucking stupid. So you can do that.
Skateboarding's stupid, but you can't take that away from me.
No, they can't take that away from me.
Anything you do in comedy, yeah, you can think, if your mind's got to go there, like, so you do it.
Yeah. Well, I think, I can't remember what it was. Adrian Kronk won something, years ago. I think he won the Prove You're a Comic, whatever. And he's like, it's nothing. And I go, hey man, it's not nothing. If it was nothing, everyone would have got it.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's nothing. He's good. He's doing well. He's good.
Yeah, but I'm saying
hilarious,
that he's going to take a credit away from himself. I'm like, why? Enjoy it. You earned it.
I saw him when he won, and he fist pumped. He wanted to act like it didn't matter, but it matters. It matters. Every single set should matter.
Right. So well, that's the thing. And there's some of the best comics treat every show like it's.
What old was he? Like 21?
I don't know.
He was young.
All I know is I put him on stage for his very first time. So
there you go.
That means absolutely nothing to me.
Go.
Nothing.
You can open for him one day.
Yeah, I'd be lucky. Well, that's the thing too, right? Is people grind. I've talked in this podcast about how over the last few years I went from hustling and writing and being in there and being, every single show I could get on and trying new stuff to completely throwing it aside for, the relationship. Like things like it comes and goes. And now I'm like that's something that I admired about you as much as, I'd be working and stuff and go, I can't do that and I don't get it. But the idea is that you would, regardless of whether you were on the show or not, you're like, I'm going to spend my evenings being around comedy because like myself, not like myself, but myself, it's out of sight, out of mind. You know what I mean? There's so many people who I forgot were around because I'm not around anymore. You know what I mean? So it's like that in comedy. Like you said, you have to be around people, be around their shows just to make an appearance and remind them that you exist, because it's very easy to get forgotten. And there's always new people chomping at the bit that want your spot, that are going to be there for your spot.
There's a total scene in Ottawa now.
Yeah.
Like I went down to Swizzles 2 weeks ago and there's tons of comics there. Like there's a scene. There's a total scene that like nothing in the Wellington Room and stuff. Like there's a total scene here and stuff. So everyone's chomping the bit. I think you the one who told me I didn't have to hang out at comic clubs anymore. I don't know. That was just something to do.
I was telling you didn't have to work at Absolute anymore because you got a job as a doorman when you came back, and I remember that, and that was good. It keeps you close to comedy. I recommended
that's everything too. Working as a doorman.
I recommend to every comic that comes to the city. They're like, how do I get Jason to know who I am? And I go, work for him. Then he'll come scream at you every day for a year, and then he'll know who you are.
I don't think they realize that there's an opportunity to work. Like, say, I can only work this day. But you'll always work that day or whatever. They'll probably take you. Like, it's weird how they need people. Probably have to train for a couple of days, but yeah, that is done more for me than writing jokes or anything else.
Yeah,
working as a doorman.
There's two owners in the city. If they know who you are, it's a gigantic move forward.
But just initially making relationships with all the headliners and hosts and all the guys that come through, like that was just a good excuse to be there because otherwise to hang out there and not, say you break even if you work there for, $40 or whatever Jason pays a doorman, but drink it afterwards, sitting with and just breaking even and walking. It's all right, but
yeah, it's
not sustainable. But that's done more for me in comedy than anything.
Yeah,
by far, just being around.
Well, and that's the thing that's the secret or whatever is, some people, I remember listening to a podcast a long time ago that had Greg Barrett, I think it was, who was on it.
Bernhardt?
No.
Greg Bernhardt? He's just not into you?
Yeah, correct. But it's Barrett. If you hear him say his name, it's Greg Barrett.
You can pronounce it however you want. Greg Bernhardt.
Sure. Well, you could say it. I'll say it the way he does. It's his name.
Maybe that's the way he hears it.
That's the way he
I don't want to besmirch him, but maybe he doesn't know his name.
Yeah. He was saying how in The Secret, some people say they see that and they go, oh, it's just saying if you believe something's going to happen, then it will. And that's bullshit. It's like, well, he says it's not suggesting that you just think it's going to happen. But what he's saying is the thing with The Secret is, for example, he goes, if you want to own a boat, you don't just go, oh, I'm going to own a boat, and then you own a boat. He goes, you start reading about boats. Maybe you start hanging out at the local boat club or whatever it is, the marina, whatever, sort of maybe meet somebody who's got one, start hanging out with guys who are into it. You start learning about it. He goes, yeah, if you are interested and you immerse yourself in something that you want, then yeah, he goes, probably someday, yeah, someone's selling one, you get a good deal. Yeah, probably someday you're going to own a boat. And he goes, that's what it is that if you want something, immerse yourself in it. And that was what I did by getting a job at the club. That's what you did by getting a job at the club and being around open mics and going out every night and being part of it. Is if you want that, then immerse yourself in it. And then, yeah, who knows? Oh, look, sooner rather than later, I'm going to get fucking work and I'm going to be on competitions. I'm going to get funnier. I'm going to be around other people who are doing it. Like, it blows my mind how many comedians, and this is something that Jason has said as well, and I'm sure Howard. I know Howard has said it too. Of course, Jason, owner of Absolute, Howard, owner of Yuck Yucks. They said, like, the guys who leave after their set, they do a quick set. And they go, oh, I got to go to another open mic. That they could stay and watch the headline, watch a professional work, and then stick around and ask the professional questions and listen to what they have to say and learn from someone who's had all the experiences. That they'll just get up and leave afterwards. And both you and I had the experience of working for Jay, sitting, asking these guys questions, and then, hearing what the answer is, learning from them.
Only if I'm getting paid to be there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, you go to open mics now and
that exact scenario, that if I could hit another spot, not that could happen out of it, you could do a spot at Absolute Likely and go somewhere else and do another spot, but I would do that. Now, for sure. I mean, once you see enough
it's different
guys,
now, though. But I'm saying when you're new and you have the opportunity to go hang out with the same five people and perform for three people,
You must.
you're saying leave and do the other mic?
No, you must. You must hang out.
Yeah.
You gotta see what it is.
I remember when I was early in stand up, there used to be we'd hung out there a few times, but there used to be a bar all the comics would go to afterwards, and everyone would sit there and like complain that what everyone else was getting, and they would sit there and they would talk about what it takes to be a headliner. You got to do this, you got to do that, and I just remember early on, I was sitting there thinking like, none of you are headliners. Like you don't. I don't think it's a smart thing to sit here and say what it takes, because if you knew what it takes, you'd be that, right? I'm like, I'd rather be sitting at Absolute with the headliners, the people who have the job that I want, telling me what it takes to get to where they are.
They're putting more energy into being resentful than being funny.
Right.
They're trying to get better.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to go immerse myself around the people that are going to be helping my career and telling me what it actually takes, as opposed to the guys who are like, I've been doing it for a year. Let me tell you what it takes to be a headliner. You got to be this, you got to be that. And it's like, okay.
But even though that can, like, I mean, if you're in your 20s, for sure, that's what you should be doing. You should just be balls deep in it. Like,
yeah.
And whatever. But you can attest that it's nice to reconnect with friends who have nothing to do with comedy.
Right.
Because you started maybe later. Versus if you start at a time when you don't have a lot of friends and all your friends become comedy friends, which I see a lot often that happens. You know,
absolutely,
really strong relationships, and that's great. But
it's almost like a misfit toys kind of.
I started so late. Like I still have really good friends who have they don't care about comedy, and nor should they.
Right.
They've all come out. Year 3, 4. Like okay, they've just come to see me. I don't like them coming to see me anyways, but
right.
If you're always hanging around the comedy club, like eventually you got to go your way. Well, to make time to see them and stuff. So that's what I find.
Yeah. So you're suggesting that, or at least if I can clarify, is you're saying that we've got the age and experience that we have relationships and strong friendships prior to starting stand up versus these kids who are young, and they're coming out of also the social media generation where, I think Dave Atkinson said this, is that nobody has like the best friend anymore. You know what I mean? Like you used to have a guy who would be in your neighborhood who would, you'd hang out with him every day because it was just you and him. You lived close together. There was no social media. Everyone didn't have a cell phone. But now everyone's got social media and you can contact each other in a pinch and everyone can call each other. So it's like you don't have to hang out just with that one person or those two guys, those two brothers that down the street. So people are not forging like one or two really strong friendships. They're forging several little micro friendships where they can just hang out with whoever's available kind of thing. And it's not that long term. I don't know what there's anything going to, but it was interesting.
I get that. But if you're like, I'm not going to change to be like that.
No, he's not suggesting people should be that way. He was just saying that's the dynamic.
Now.
Yeah. Now people can just,
everyone watches YouTube, not TV or what. Like,
yeah. Well, you're 13 years old now and you're able to go out by yourself. Well, guess what? You've got all your friends on Facebook. So who's free and wants to hang out? Like you don't have to go out with that one friend.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You get yourself.
I can't relate to that whatsoever. And I hope to never know what that's like.
Right. Exactly. So these people now with these little micro friendships or micro relationships, they get into comedy and it's like, who are the people that you see all the time? Right. It's the same people that you're on the same shows with. So now those are the people you hang out with all the time. That one best friend dynamic where, hey, every time I go out, you're there. So
but
now
if you see these scenes at Swizzles or Wellington, there's tons of comics there. Like it's whether they don't feel comfortable hanging around at Absolute every night or can't afford to be there, or they, Jamie gets thrown out, whatever.
I don't think we can't say his name anymore, or he'll appear like Bloody Mary.
There's a subculture, which is cool, but it's like when you go hang out there, you feel like an outsider.
Oh, really?
As much as you felt like an outsider when you first started, and we're just showing up open mics, like going up to Dave Atkinson, and how do you get up there? Like how do you host a show and stuff? It's like stage time. Like because there was only like I don't know 9 comics in Ottawa when I started.
9 established,
guys that you would see every week, like wow, and killing and stuff, and now it's huge, like so much bigger.
Oh yeah,
well, in comparison, and still, I'm sure people from Toronto come and go, "This is nothing's happening. There's dead town." When they always like, "Is there anything going on?" I was like, "Well, absolute, but you got to book that or whatever." It isn't what those places are, New York City or LA, or I'm sure.
Right, of course.
But it's crazy bigger than when I started. Crazy bigger.
Well, it's growing. As the amount of comics grow, it's like a regular industry. There's more people around. There's more mouths to feed. So you got to have more.
They start these rooms, and so whatever stopped me from starting a room? That's how I think. Like,
well, you still could.
Still could. I don't think so though. I don't think I like. This is the thing with like, if you want to do something well, the energy you have to put into it. You couldn't do it and be successful, be half-ass at it.
Right. No, if you're going to do it, you got to do it right. And I'm a big advocate of that. So you have gotten yourself way over the point of doing just open mics. You're getting paid. You've won money. Yeah, buddy. Big leagues. Well, you just did, you've already you've featured at Absolute so far, the clubs.
I've hosted.
You've hosted.
I've featured.
You've featured. And I know that you just got back from the inaugural Ice Cold Comedy Festival in Kingston.
Most money I've ever made.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell you want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Not necessarily the money,
I've
but
I've never made this much money doing comedy before.
That's amazing.
Although I had to rent a car.
Okay.
So these are the things you realize, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I can do this and do stuff, but there are costs. Like, I'm sure once you get to that level where you are just walking up and to a theater, getting a limousine, but
right.
You know what I mean? You know that you have to sometimes pay to get gigs and stuff, so take that out of the money.
Well, it's an investment. You're investing in the return. And here's the thing too, just before we go into the comedy festival too, is that you, just in case anyone has got it twisted, you work a day job. You work 5 days a week at Whole Foods.
Yeah.
And you're gone from the house by 6 o'clock in the morning every single day.
Yeah.
So as much as you are, like, I'm giving you praise for being at these comedy shows till 10, 11 o'clock, you're up early.
But it's interesting because I think to some of those guys it would be work.
Oh, I do.
Like a total headliner. This is all he's doing. You know what I mean? Like, it's work. It's going to Kingston, doing, like, for me, it was like vacation, like, just not my, it was just like you always say, like, to feel like a comic. Like, it was just,
right.
You know, that's why I took a day off work and taught the whole weekend and drove down there. Like, it was amazing. It was amazing to hang around all those funny guys and, like, not feel like an outsider at open mic.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, Adrian Kronk was there, and I know Mike Wilmot, and Rob Pugh I know, and I don't know Kenny Robinson well, but I host a show for him, so I got to know him better.
So you like,
it
was
Aaron
great
Berg before, and like,
yeah, like you had, like, I mean, dude, it's a great thing because you did multiple
Michelle
shows.
Shaughnessy was there.
Yeah,
this is we're talking about it right now. Yeah, let's talk about it. This is a great experience of my life, and her boyfriend is Snake from Degrassi. The Zit Remedy.
I never watched Degrassi, so you could keep referencing it. I wouldn't know. Yeah.
Well, to your listeners, you know Snake is Wheels and Joey Jeremiah. Anyways, he was a super cool guy, and I knew who he was, and he was there supporting her, and
that's awesome.
The city was just comedy everywhere, and just it was crazy. I mean, compared to anything else I've never done before, you know. Yeah,
well, it's a great milestone, dude. You've done a festival.
I can imagine I'll do a worse festival or a better festival or any festival, but it was the greatest, more than anything, validation.
Well, that's great. Yeah, but that's what it's about, right? So you're not going to blow it up and go, it's a comedy festival. It's possible. Dude, it's the inaugural comedy festival. You're on multiple shows. You're getting paid to do stand-up comedy. You're booking time off the day job. And the reason I brought that up is to say that there's so many people who would look at that and go, I'm not going to work 5 days a week, but you're doing what you have to do to.
Well, when I go to the open mics, all the open micers are like, where are you? You're never around. I was like, I have a job. And they're like, what's that like?
Yeah, but
what's a job like? No, but they want they don't realize you need a job. Like,
yeah, you want to move to Toronto or something.
Their 20s into their late 20s is fun to watch because it's just car crashes,
right?
Because it's just a free ride. It's just sort of ebbing away, and they realize they're gonna have to support this.
Yeah,
and their parents are starting to ask them like, "So, where do you think you're gonna live?" Like,
yeah.
What are you going to do?
Time to move out of the basement.
And they're trying to be funny, and they're trying to hang out, and they're trying to get shit on by us, and they're trying to break in. Like, they all have their challenges. Yeah, I mean, if I was independently wealthy, I don't know if I'd be funnier. I don't know. Like, That's holding me back. But just working at it. It's the best thing ever. It was just the best thing ever. Because I was going down like, what if I bomb? Because I don't think I did a set for a month before the show. Maybe 2 weeks I did a set.
But before this competition?
Like some sort of warm up before the festival.
Right.
Like, like you'd like to, some people give you a couple nights just
as he motions to where Jason is.
warm up before the show, but I gave you a spot 3 weeks ago. What's your problem? Fine.
Yeah. And that's the thing is even when you're established, it's still a certain amount of spots, and guppies and barracudas are all still fighting for those same fucking, I've never done a fishing metaphor before. But
I remember, I don't fish. I remember driving down and being like, I hope it don't suck.
No.
Like, well, do well. Like,
no, you got that back pocket laugh that gets you in any fucking pickle,
well,
which is amazing. Like
the first show was at Don Cherry's. Have you ever been to that bar?
Yeah.
It's big. It was upstairs, not downstairs. Like, must have been 100-something people. And Michelle Shaughnessy was hosting, and then it was this guy, me, and then Aaron Berg. So, like I was saying, my cousin and his fiance showed up, and I was like, don't worry about me. Like,
you enjoy the rest of the show.
You will remember I was here after you see Aaron Berg because he's going to rip a hole in this place. And the guy before me was this like Lou, I don't know, something bowling. He was a bowling comic and just bowling puns. And he did jokes about how he named his kid Lane Gutter. What like it was just like, what I mean?
Right.
And I mean, God bless him, but it was horrible or whatever. It just wasn't what it. I don't know.
Well, it's
he got a couple laughs and then just sort of died down. So it was just perfect. Then I came up and just did my set. So it was someone sort of took. You know what I mean?
Right.
I was going to definitely do better than him.
Well, that's what I say. Thank God the guy before me bombed.
But I love it was on kills. That's a different type of energy. But I knew like I was going to be more competent than he was,
right?
And I would look better after him. So that gave me the confidence. And then I had a great set, and it was great.
Well, you're like I said. I mean, I've really. And fuck, I'm always worried about how it sounds, but I'm just going to say it, and I hope that I mean good by it. Is I've watched your growth in comedy. I've always found you funny, and I always see you getting funnier and funnier. It was great to see you in the competitions and not only make it to the finals, but like I said, come in second place, despite the fact that it's not gold. You got money out of it, prize money out of it.
You got a bike
and prize money, right?
Yeah, I got a bike. I still have the bike.
Is it the Cronenberg bike or whatever?
Yeah, the Cronenberg bike.
I think it's a fucking gorgeous bike. But dude, second place is still good out of 36 guys. You got seeing you doing one-nighters and stuff, getting paid to do the corporate. So as much as everybody thinks, there's the club work doesn't pay as much as the one-nighters. You've got, those. You just did a comedy festival.
I need a car. I need to get that car. The car I'm going to talk about.
Yeah.
Right down the road.
Well, you will though. But that's the thing is you will.
But that's what I realized when I rented this car, because I rented a car.
Right.
Do you know I rented a car?
You just said it like 20 minutes ago.
But I rented a car to go down to Kingston. So I was, not like, can someone pick me up at the train station, the bus station, or how to get like.
Right. Well, there's Uber.
No, there's a car, and you have a car, or you'd use it.
Oh, I have a car. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you need a car, and it's just, it's so much more empowering when you're in control of where you're going. Like,
absolutely. Well, yeah.
So
absolutely.
if I get a car that opens up Montreal to do stuff, you know what I mean? Like Kingston and Montreal aren't that far.
Right.
There's not that much stuff popping up in Kingston, but to get down there, Montreal is still the way, but I don't want to take a bus. I don't want to go down with a group of people and have to wait for that person to finish their show or whatever. Like,
right. You want to have the freedom to come and go as you please. That's what the best part of having a car, for sure.
I'm older, so that's the missing piece. I mean, for me to continue my way, like obviously I'd want to like move back to Toronto and just do mics all the time, but I know what that lifestyle is like. Like I know it would just run me down again. Like stuff is starting to happen, just by plugging away. Like I'm sure it could happen faster if I worked harder or threw myself more at it, but I don't know if I'd be happier. Right. In existing.
Well, it's at the end of the day, that's why I just tell people like in stand up, there is no set right way to do it. Keep working. It's art. as much as the Canadian government doesn't recognize that. It's art. You keep grinding. You keep coming up with new stuff. You sell the stuff that you have that people want. You keep creating new that people want. But dude, like obviously in the last couple of years, in my opinion, you've turned a huge corner.
That's super kind. That's super cool.
Well, you're working hard. You're like as much, and I don't just mean fucking in comedy, dude. Like you were busting your ass 5 days a week, bright and early to be up as early as you are and to be out as late, being a part of the comedy world as you are. It takes a lot. If I put my nose to it, I could.
Now you're
but not like
taste. You're gonna taste.
I mean, yeah, we don't have to.
It's immigrant life. 3-4 jobs. You know what I mean?
But I'm just saying, like I'm not up at 5:30 in the morning to go to work. You know, I used to do the Uber, but I would do 5:30 and then I'm back at 10. Yeah, and then I can go right back to sleep.
I think that one thing for comics is just weird.
It's not, to me, it's not weird. They just know it, that it's fucking hard. And instead of looking themselves in the mirror and going, fuck, that's hard work and I don't want to do it, it's just easier to fucking go, what do you have in a job
but
for?
I more feel like Adrian Kronk and that it really isn't that. You have to get up and go to work, whether you get up at 5:30 or you get up at 9:30 or 10:30 at night and work a shift overnight.
You got to go.
I do not think anything of that is, I mean, that's what I have to do.
Yeah. If you want to do comedy, you got to do that.
And back to your artist thing is you can want to be a great painter, but you can't think about painting all the time and wonder how to be a good painter. You have to just paint.
Just paint.
And just paint and just paint and just paint and just paint.
You make a muscle strong by working the muscle, not by thinking about working the muscle.
So you know this. So obviously the best place is to be in New York City or Chicago or Matt Watson. God, like that's as hardcore as you can go. You know
living in a van to pursue your dream.
6 or 7 months of that, I was like, I did all this. I mean, I traveled when I was young and planted trees and went to Australia and did stuff and lived a vagabond life. I just didn't know I wanted to stand up that whole time. You know what I mean? I mean, what a time to have done it. But I just have a standard of living.
Well, I mean,
it isn't that high. But you know me, like I take the bus, like I'm starving. Well, I'm not starving, but
you are not starving.
But I'm gonna have to start starving myself once you start losing more weight.
Yeah, fuck. I've eaten one meal today.
Because I use you to make me feel like a pretty little girl. But once you start jumping the pounds, I'm gonna be exposed for the fat slob I am.
It's the snoring. I think when your sleep apnea gets worse than mine.
Well, I've noticed when I've even lost like 10 pounds, which I can do, the snoring definitely decreases. So I think I'm pulling for you more than anyone.
Thanks, man.
Anyone, any of your listeners, anyone, I want you guys to know I'm his #1 supporter and I fat shame him. And I do all the things you're not supposed to do, but I do it with love and I do it looking in his eyes because it would be just like it'd be like a Reno show, reality TV, like. It's not like
flip this orca.
No, but for you to lose this weight this is a 10-year plan. You can significantly be different at the end of this year. And
it's not a 10-year. I thought you were saying it's a 10-year plan. Like Christ Almighty, it's not
that. I gotta start working at this and I'll plug away. In a year from now, if we stop eating pizza.
Right.
Although, do you want to get one after this? No. You know, you're doing chicken broccoli. That's what I thought you should do. I don't know why you're eating the lettuce and the orange. You look like you were trying to make yourself unhappy.
I looked like I was trying to make myself unhappy.
I don't know.
That's fucking hilarious.
Suffer the weight away. But like, do you fish?
I don't like fish. And I don't know how to cook it properly.
What about tuna fish that's already cooked in a can? Can you eat that?
I can eat it. I prefer just eat the chicken. No,
but yeah, of course. But you were talking about changing it up. Like, learn to eat tuna.
I'll eat tuna. It's just not ideal.
Yeah, but it is ideal. There's nothing wrong with it. It's protein.
I don't like the mercury.
I understand. Oh yeah. Again.
You can laugh. I've looked at medical studies.
You have too much place to store mercury.
But that's actually exactly what the issue is that your body doesn't process mercury, doesn't put it into your bloodstream. It doesn't.
But how many people have you seen dying of mercury?
No, but listen, it's not. You don't die of mercury. What happens is your body doesn't process out of your kidneys. It doesn't go out of your sweat glands. So what happens is your mercury that you ingest actually gets stored in your brain. and it's the cause of Alzheimer's and brain diseases and things like that. And I'm not saying that one can of tuna is going to do it, but if I change my diet now, every day I'm eating a can of tuna instead of chicken.
But
now I'm ingesting that stuff.
Mix it up. I think you're crazy because you haven't been eating it.
And I'm
for
sure
so
if I got
long.
fresh tuna and learned how to cook it, I'm sure I could do that too.
Well, fresh. Do you like sushi?
I like sushi. See, that's what it sounds. Just for the record, even though Auphonic will clean it up, that's what you could. That's what I hear. Jason and his girlfriend
Is
are.
that sex though?
No, they're incredibly quiet when they have sex.
I know, it's disturbing.
Yeah, I walk upstairs. And I'm like, it's super quiet. They're probably fucking, which is a nice thing when you live in a house of four dudes, and then occasionally one of us has a woman over.
Only one of us, and it's none of us here right now. On this podcast.
But yeah, man, I don't know. I'm still working on it. But this was your interview. This is not fucking about me and what fish I eat.
I'm still pinching myself about this whole Ice Cold Comedy Festival, and huge shout out to Ryan Denny. Like, anyone who thinks they're working hard has got to look at him. Like, he does everything that you just described. He's up at 4 a.m. Like, he definitely works harder than I do, and is hustling harder, and like, I will not be successful till he's successful. That's sort of how I see my. If he's not successful, I can't be successful because I'm definitely not working as hard as him, or just trying to make it going. And he just put an amazing festival, and everyone had an amazing time. It was like Kenny Robinson, Mike Wilmot, like Karen Berg, Rob Pugh. It's like you could be there like, well, this isn't as good as this festival, or
Yeah, but
we're talking about other festivals, and you're sitting there, and they're not like looking at you like. You should be listening to conversation. You're part of this festival. It's validation that you.
Well, there's a direct correlation between
Better than you telling me how good I am, because I love that, and I don't want you to stop. But it's
again,
it's
you don't
outside.
have to compartmentalize. Just take all of it. Well, yeah, the thing is, there's a direct correlation between how much work you do and the results that you get. People expect to do no work and get massive results. It's ridiculous.
Well, the younger people, yeah.
And now there's also, we'll give this opportunity because we're over the hour mark here. Not that it makes a big difference, but I've got a big milestone for you. Something that you really have wanted for a long time. You are going to be hosting, if I'm not mistaken, in the Toronto club, Absolute Comedy. When's that coming up?
Yeah, that's April 3rd to 8th in Toronto.
Nice.
Eglinton, Young. Yeah, that's huge. I mean, it's just like when you say this festival I'm doing, all those guys have done that, hosted. So it's just like, yeah, you're getting to this point, but it's if it was the first time ever, it'd be crazier. But it's the big city. I'm hoping to have a car for it. King of the city. But that's definitely different and harder with work to get off that time and.
But it's what you want ultimately, right?
Yeah, I mean, because of this and this will probably be my last road trip. Like, for possible vacation time that could take off, depending how much you're getting paid. Like, I'm getting paid when I go to do that, so I don't have to take all those vacation days. But
it's it's not as much as you would make working the day job, I'm sure, per day.
To do something for a lot less money and pay to do it, and not be able to get paid when you're not at work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then that 2 weeks later, you get a really small paycheck.
It's getting those reps in, eh?
Absolutely. That's why I'm happy that I can do Yuck Yucks, and I'm getting this stuff, but I'm still beneath the radar enough that no one's like, you can only do that. I'm sure Jason would try to say that, but
right.
He's got nothing. He's got no leverage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know where he sleeps.
Yeah, we've got Big Brother watching over us.
Well, that'd be a classic problem.
So where do people connect with you in terms of social media?
Social media, I can be found at Kamar Babar, at Kamar Babar on Twitter, at Kamar Babar on Instagram, and my Facebook is something else.
Right, that's your real name, and that's personal.
My real name, it isn't, but I'm trying to create the character right now. At the moment.
Kamar Babar.
Unless you want me to actually just be myself.
I thought you were being yourself the entire time.
Oh, that was Kamar Babar.
That was Kamar Babar.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. I don't think I'm good enough to pull that off.
Just the character the whole time. Well, dude, I appreciate you being on the show. If anyone wants to check out Kamar, you know where he's going to be in April.
Thank you so much for Josh. And to your listeners, Josh never says this, but write a review in iTunes and rate this episode. That's how we're going to get his listenership up and bump his show up in the charts.
Nice. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate you doing this.